Oh, hey there. I I didn't see you walk in. Hello. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild. What are you here for? I don't think I recognize you. You're not one of the adventurers registered here, are you? You're not like an adventurer employee here, are you? I don't think I recognize your face, and I do know most of the adventurers here. Are you, are you new to the Adventurers Guild? You are. You were actually hoping to come here to register a guild license to be an adventurer at our guild? Well, if that's the case, you're in the right place then. Come on, why don't you, get a little closer to my little receptionist desk and we can sort that out. We get all your paperwork ready. Honestly, you're a little lucky today, actually. Usually at this time, the guild would be very busy. There's often a lot of adventurers in here around the clock. Day to night, there's usually a lot of them just coming in, picking up quests, getting food, looking over various informational pamphlets and books and such that we have on the various monsters and ruins and all the likes that are around here. Usually there should be a lot of adventurers at this time, but luckily for you, you're not gonna have to wait in line because there's actually a little event going on today. A pretty big one. I said little, but it's actually quite big for this town. We actually are having the grand tournament right now. All the adventurers, from the lowest of ranks to the highest, all of them are going and participating in the tournament because there's a lot of different brackets for all the different ranks. So everybody in the guild has gone off to the tournament to hopefully win a bit of fame and money because there's a quite nice monetary reward for whoever wins the various different brackets. So you're pretty lucky coming today. Thanks to that, nobody's here to take up the lines, but honestly, I'm surprised you're not at the tournament as well. You must be new to this town, right? You are. I see. How did I know you're new to the town? Well, that's simple. You see, in this town, it's a medium-sized town, as you've probably seen on your way here. Not the biggest of town, it's not like the capital city, but it's not like a small village either. But despite our medium size, we have this one big tournament, the tournament I mentioned to you. It's the one big event this town has, so whenever it happens, everybody, whether they be an adventurer participating or a civilian watching, everybody around just loves to go to the tournament. So the fact that you're not there means you must not be around from here because I don't think I've ever heard of anybody not going to the tournament unless they can't. Like, as you can see, I'm obviously not at the tournament, and that's because, somebody has to stay behind to watch the place. The guild master wouldn't want nobody be here, just in case, some kind of emergency happens. There needs to be at least one guild employee here to receive the news if anything happens, and I just so happen to be the lucky employee who had to stay behind, but that's fine. Thanks to that, I get to help you out a bit, I guess. But anyways, so you said you were here for registration, right? You wanna become an employee, well, not employee, but adventurer at this guild, right? Yeah, that's what you said. Okay then, we can go ahead and start getting that all sorted out and such. Just let me grab a bit of paperwork real quick. We do need you to just write down a few different stuff. Write down some very basic details just so we know a little bit about you. We can't, have just anybody join the guild. We need to make sure you're not like some known criminal or something. We don't like having a bunch of criminals in the guild, so we just need you to write some details down, like your name, your former occupation, and where you're from and such. But here, let me go grab that paperwork real quick. It should be quick. Okay, here it is. Let me just check. Yep. This is a blank form. Just want to make sure I don't accidentally grab one that's already filled out. They should be in a separate place, but sometimes things do get mixed up, so I just want to make sure I do have the right form. Yep. Okay, so before I have you fill out this form, I want to ask, do you know how to read, write, and everything? Are you literate? Okay, you are? Good to know. Luckily that whether or not you are or not shouldn't matter currently, because since you're the only person here right now, I don't need you to fill out this form by yourself, because there's nobody else waiting in line. So I will probably just fill out the form for you, just to make sure it's done perfectly well. And just because sometimes it's better to ask the questions myself, so I can kind of get a bit of a read on your personality. As the receptionist, that is a bit of my job to, kind of get an understanding of the adventurers that we employ here, just to make sure we're getting the best of the best who, won't cause any trouble. So usually for somebody literate like you, who knows how to read and write, usually if there was a wait, like a line and such, usually on a regular day, I would give you the form to fill out yourself, so that we can, get the line going a bit quicker, and I can help out the people who do need me to write the stuff for them. But since it's not really a busy day, I will write it for you, if that's fine. But here, let us go through some of the questions. Okay, number 1. What is your full name? Okay, I see. Good. Let me just write that down. Okay, question number 2. What was your former occupation before you became a adventurer, before you decided to come here? I see, I see. I will write that down. Adventurer was unemployed. I see. There. Okay, number 3. Do you have any specific reasons why you want to become an adventurer? Like, what inspired you to become an adventurer? We're mostly just asking this so that we can, once again, as I said earlier, get a bit of a read on your personality. But if you don't mind me asking, what made you want to become an adventurer at this guild specifically as well? If you could tell why this guild was specifically chosen and not the others. Okay, I see. Good, good, good. Okay, next thing, question 4. Where were you from? Like, where are you from? Where is your former residence? What village, town, city, wherever? Where'd you come from? Okay, I see. Good to know, good to know. I don't think I've heard of that place before, but I assume it's probably just because it's like a small village or something. That's probably why. There's a lot of small villages. You often have people coming from these small villages to become adventurers, to make a name for themselves and to get away from the slow life in the villages. So I want to be surprised if you were like that. There's a lot of people like you, so don't worry. I'm not going to hold it against you if I don't know exactly the place you're from, like if I don't recognize it, because there's a lot of places that I don't recognize, a lot of random villages. Okay, let me check. Question number 5. Yep. Okay, now this question number 5 is actually going to be a little different. You see, for this question, I'm actually going to need to grab a bit of equipment real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, so for this next question, I'm going to be asking you some various, kind of like true or false questions, so I'm just going to be asking you, questions like, do you have any criminal background, and, questions like that, like, can you tell me yes or no, okay? And I actually have this little device with me. I have this little device that essentially what it does is when I insert a magical stone into it, which actually, let me do that right now. Let me just open the little the little ports. And insert the magical stone. Close it up. And there, should be on. Usually this thing won't be on because we usually take the magical stones out so it's not constantly on and using up the magic in it. But essentially, for me to explain what this tool is, this is a truth seeing device. This device will essentially let me know if you are telling the truth or not. And you see, the way it actually works, to give a quick little explanation, I don't usually do this, but since we have a bit of time, I think it'd be fun to talk about, because to be honest, I do like to explain these things, because I did study some of this stuff a lot trying to become a receptionist, so sometimes I just like to talk about the stuff I learned. But if you would mind me for a second as I over explain a bit, but essentially the way this device works is it will send a little signal, a little magic signal, almost like a telepathic signal to the user of the tool that will let me know if what you said was true or false. And the reason why we used this like telepathic like method instead of something more simple and cheaper to use, like let's say having the device maybe glow a color or maybe flash if the person is lying or telling the truth. Like, the reason why we didn't do something like that is mostly for like safety, as there is the worry that sometimes if a adventurer realizes that they got exposed for lying, like if for example we had the device like flash, I don't know, red when somebody's lying, there is the risk that maybe the adventurer, knowing that they got caught, might try to harm the receptionist in front of them and maybe others around. And that is a big liability for the guild, so we made sure to have the magic device only give this information to the user so that there is no risk of the person being interviewed, freaking out and attacking the employee. But that's essentially the reason why. This is essentially the reason why the device works the way it does. But essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this device on, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and I need you to answer truthfully for me, okay? And if you don't, the device will react, okay? So do just tell me truthfully, okay? So, next question. Do you have any criminal background? For example, have you stolen anything? Gotten any bandit work? Did you work as a bandit? Robbed any caravans? Did a murder? Like anything like that? Okay, you didn't? Good, good, good. Good, good, good. That's good. We don't want none of that in the guild, so as long as that's not the case, that should be fine. Okay, next question. Do you have any past affiliations with any other, like, potentially rival guilds? They don't have to be rival guilds, just any other guilds. Are you affiliated with any other guilds? Or do you have, like, past affiliations with any other guilds? Okay, I see. Good, 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 good. We would prefer that you don't have any affiliations, so it's good that you don't, because while we don't want to discriminate, we just need to be a little careful, because we have had some incidents in the past where we've had some less than reputable guilds try to send like spies into our guild to try to like sabotage us from the within. So we're just trying to be on the lookout for that, make sure that doesn't happen again. So that's why we're asking that. Okay, that's good, good, good. Okay, next question. Are you of noble descent? Like anywhere in your family tree, are you a noble? Do you have any like noble blood in you? Are you related to any nobles or anything? Okay, no. You are a commoner. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, the reason we're asking you that is essentially we had this issue this one time where this noble joined the guild, but they didn't let us know. They didn't go to the proper channels, and they didn't get the proper protection and stuff. And just to cut the story short, essentially what happened is they got in a bit of an accident in the guild, and it caused a lot of trouble. Let's just say that it caused a lot of trouble, and because of that, we we really want to make sure that we know if somebody is a noble before they come into the guild, so we can get some extra documentation done. So if you aren't, that is perfectly good. You are a commoner. Okay, good. Okay, this should be one of the last questions that we'll need to ask you using this device real quick. Now for the last question. Are you involved with any sort of evil worship? Like, do you worship any of the main recognized gods that are recognized publicly as evil by the guild? Because in case you don't know, as I do sometimes need to explain this question for, for people who don't understand this. Some people in the, villages, they don't really know the main gods and goddesses in this world. But essentially there is actually a lot of different gods and such in this world. A lot. Some major, some minor. Some are just like, the god of farming and the god of this and that. There's a lot of random stuff, but there's a few that have been noted as being a little bit more on the sinister side and like to disrupt the way society likes to operate and cause a bit of chaos for the guild. We've had some incidents where the worshippers of some of these like evil gods that we call them now, some of them have tried to disrupt the guild. They've attacked some other adventurers before for like sacrificial rituals and other things. So we just want to make sure you're not worshipping any of these evil gods. Like, here, let me actually go over the list, because it seems you don't know them, which that's fair. Not everybody knows the names of them, and considering where you said you were from earlier in the quiz, I assume you're from a kind of distant village, so you probably don't know a lot of this information. Like, it's pretty well-known information in the cities, but for those in like more remote villages, I understand that you might not know, but we have to ask this question just in case, and I am gonna need to inform you about what these evil gods are before I have you fully answer the question, because we've also had an incident where, you see, to be honest, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but the magical detection device, it can be like the lie detection device. It's this little device right here. It can be a little finicky sometimes, where if the person doesn't realize they're lying, it can not get picked up by the device as a lie. For example, like if they do worship one of those evil gods, but they don't realize it's one of the evil gods we're looking for, because they don't know what the gods we consider as evil are. Even if they say that they don't worship one, but they do, it can still not get picked up by the device just because they're not well informed enough. So for new potential guild employees or adventurers like you, we do need to inform you of what the multiple evil gods are, so that you can answer the question more truthfully. Okay, so let me just grab the little list. We have a list of a few of them, the main ones, because there is some more other evil gods, but we don't really, some of them we don't actually consider evil per se, just more like tricksters. But the ones on this list I'm about to show you are like the evil ones. Like they're the ones who, like, have like human sacrifices and cat sacrifices and they kind of sacrifice any sentient race in this world. Because, just in case you don't know, there is. I don't know if you know this. I mean, I assume you know because you didn't freak out when you saw me, a talking cat, but there's other races in this world besides humans and such, but I assume you already know that. But essentially, these evil gods, they target everybody. Like the ones on the list we're about to show you, they're real bad because they'll sacrifice anybody. So this is a very big deal that we make sure you're not following any of them. That's why we do like all of this extra steps for this one specific question. But I've been rattling on for too long, so let me just get the list. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Okay, so we have the list right here now. So I'm just gonna go over all of the various evil gods and goddesses that are on this list, and also give a brief description of them just so for sure you know what they are in case you worship any of them, so that when I have you answer the yes or no question, there's no chance of you being able to accidentally evade the magical devices watch and like kind of skirt around it. So I'm just going to quickly go over these, okay? So bear with me for a few seconds. I know this interview is dragging on a bit long, but there's a bit of a process with these things. We've recently had a lot of issues, to be honest, in the guild, like a lot of not so good adventurers and a lot of people worshipping these evil gods, a lot of criminals also joining the guild, just a lot of bad things have been happening. So we've had to be a bit harsher recently on this stuff, but here, let me go over them real quick. So for the first one, we have the goddess of disease and pain. Essentially, what we know about this goddess is apparently she really loves spreading disease, pain, all the sorts, loves causing injuries, loves causing pandemics, epidemics, all the such, loves diseases, every single one of them, from the mildest to the most giant. What we know is that a lot of the individuals who follow her love causing pandemics. We've caught a few of them trying to infiltrate our guild and try to plant a few infected rats into the city, the guild, and all the such. We luckily were able to stop them because we do have some very, very talented clerics and priests and also doctors and all the such. We had a good amount of talented healers in the guild who were able to stop the spread, but it could have been bad, so we are on a very big watch for anybody who follows this goddess, because she can cause a lot of damage, not only to the guild, but to the city as a whole. Like, there will be a huge civilian loss if they were allowed to get what they want, so we cannot have any followers of this goddess in our guild. Now, the next one, we have the god of monsters and chaos. Now, this one is actually pretty self-explanatory on the surface level, you would think, but it's actually a bit more complicated. You see, now you may think like, okay, this is the god of monsters and chaos, like they must be the ones who like make all the monsters that us adventurers are tasked with hunting down and such, but it's actually false. It is a very common misconception about this god. They actually did not make monsters, because if that was all they did, well, honestly, us adventurers wouldn't be that mad with them, because while monsters do cause a lot of chaos, and they can cause problems and damage to, property, and they can cause a lot of death, they're not always that bad, as they are actually an integral part of many different ecosystems and different habitats and such. And they also offer a lot of good materials. In fact, the stuff that was used to make this magical device next to me, the truth-telling device, was made from monster materials and such, including the magic stone in it. So monsters, not that bad. Now, essentially what this god is about, the reason why they're called the gods, the god of monsters and specifically chaos, is that they don't make the monsters, they just elevate them. They make the monsters a lot more aggressive than they're supposed to be. They take some monsters that are usually more on the peaceful side, monsters that will usually not attack the sentient races of this world, the elves, the talking cats like me, the humans, and all the others. Usually there is some monsters that will not attack the sentient races. They realize that, it's really dangerous. Usually they only attack, other monsters. That's what I was talking about when I said that they're very important to the ecosystem. But you see, the problem with this god is they take those monsters, make them a million times more aggressive, and they cause them to act differently than how they usually do naturally, and cause them to, attack different settlements and cause a lot of death and chaos as such. That's why we call him the monster, god of monsters and chaos, because they turn monsters really bad and cause a lot of chaos and such. So, we really want to make sure to stop any followers of this god, because what they do is we've catched a few of them trying to enter the city with these modified monsters, and they've been found out to be trying to release them in the cities, villages, all the likes. They just like to cause chaos because that's how they garner favor with their god, goddess, whatever. That's actually how all of these guys work, is they try to gain favor. Like, that's the reason why the people, and, well, not people, I should not say people, it's not just humans, there's a lot of different races that follow all of these guys. That's actually the really dangerous thing about these guys, is these goddesses, very popular a lot amongst a lot of different races. They do not discriminate, which is very dangerous, because it's a lot more simple if they only target one specific race, like the elves, the humans, or whatever, because then their numbers are limited. But these guys, they target whoever. As long as they're willing to serve them, they will make followers out of anybody, and that gives them a lot more numbers than they usually would have if they only targeted one specific race, and that's dangerous for us. So we do want to make sure to keep a watch out for all these guys. But the next one, we have the god of winter and war. Now, essentially what this guy does is they love to just cause a lot of cold storms, blizzards, and all the such. And in those storms, there's actually this one's also really dangerous, because not only does the cold that is brought by this god, destroys crops, causes famine, and the such, but it's also really dangerous because there's this very peculiar element where, for some reason, the cold, the blizzards, all the such that are brought by this god, not the same as like the usual cold storms and blizzards. Anybody who stays in these cold fronts, cold, blizzards and storms, for some reason they get really aggressive. And I think we don't know for sure. We have our best scholars trying to decipher the exact reason why this is the case, but we believe there's like some sort of like divinity and like magic imbued into the storms caused by this god that will lead to a lot of violence and anybody caught in these storms and blizzards for too long. Now I will say, the one good thing about this god does not have a lot of followers. I'm pretty sure you're probably not a follower of this guy because luckily does not have a lot of followers, because the ability of this god to, cause so many to become increasingly violent whenever they're in the storms and blizzard caused by this god usually works against them, because a lot of the followers who follow this guy turn against each other, tear each other to shreds, and because of that, not a lot of followers for this god. But you should be on the lookout, because the few followers this god does have, very strong, because the only followers that can stay in these blizzards caused by this god and not turn against each other are the absolute peak of strength, the most devoted followers. So I would be very careful if you see any follower of this specific god, the god of winter and war. Keep a lookout. Now the final one, I'm gonna be honest. The final one I'm about to tell you about is it's a little weird, okay? It's a little strange that it's on this list, but I'll tell you why in a second. You just gotta keep it a secret, okay? But essentially, the last one on this list is the goddess of revolution. Now, this goddess loves to cause revolutions, as the name talks about. Loves to cause revolutions, loves to, shake up the system, cause a change to the status quo. Now, if I'm gonna be honest with you, you need to keep this very quiet if I tell you about this, okay? You need to be very quiet, but to be honest with you, the only reason this goddess is on this list is because we have a lot of nobles that support the guild and sponsor the guild, so they really wanted this goddess to be on the list. They made sure she was added because, to be honest, this is the one they're afraid of the most. Essentially, this goddess and the followers of them really love to target nobles. We've found them to have tried to do a lot of different plots against the nobles of this nation we're currently in. They've done a lot of plots, a lot of attempted assassinations, poisonings, revolutions, of course, a lot of the like. They love to cause revolutions, so because of this is the number one priority for the nobles. The nobles do not like this goddess the most of them all. They really dislike this one particular goddess, so to be honest, that's why we had to have on the list. None of the followers on this of this goddess have technically done anything specifically targeted towards the guild, as we do not have many nobles in the guild. We mostly get sponsored by the nobles. They don't actually join the guild personally, so none of the followers have been reported to have attacked any adventurers besides the few that have been on escort and guarding missions for the aforementioned nobles, but besides those few cases, to be honest with you, the followers of this goddess, not your biggest priority. Probably you'll be fine. They probably won't hurt you, but we just have to have them on the list, to be honest, because the nobles, it's one of the things they really ask for in exchange for us getting a lot of their money, so this is why we have to do this. But now that you know about all of these various gods and goddesses that we can't have a part of the guild, we can't have any of their followers, now that you know about them, you are informed, and there's, no chance that maybe you are a follower of them, but you don't even know that that's the evil gods we're talking about because I didn't inform you about them yet. But now that we have informed you about them, we're going to go ahead and ask you the question. Are you a follower of any of these various evil gods and goddesses? Are you? Okay, you aren't. Good. Good to know. And with that, that should be the end of your interview. I do apologize that this was a very, very long interview. That's simply the nature of these sort of interviews nowadays with the various stuff we have to deal with the various issues we've had in the guild. It's just, guild policy. So, but now that you're done, I can go ahead and get your new guild ID, your little guild card. Just give me 1 second to go ahead and get it prepped for you.